When people start shortlisting MBA colleges, most of them begin the same way. They open the rankings, they scroll through the list, and they compare the school names. And honestly, that's exactly what I did too. I remember sitting with multiple tabs open, like the rankings, school websites, Reddit threads, YouTube videos, and still feeling more confused than confident. Because rankings tell you which school is good, but they don't tell you whether a school makes sense for your background, your risk appetite, and your long term career. So, in this video, I want to share how I personally shortlisted MBA colleges in Europe step by step and the thinking process that helped me move from confusion to clarity. And by the end of this video, you will probably realize that one of the schools that you are currently considering shouldn't even be on your shortlist. Hi everyone, I am Pooja and I recently completed my MBA in Germany. I'm not saying this is the only right way. This is simply the process that helped me make a confident and well thought out decision. And more importantly, it helped me avoid a lot of regret later. So you can also simply adapt this process to your own profile. Let me be very clear, rankings are not useless. They are a very good starting point. They help you discover schools that you may not have even heard of. But rankings don't tell you how employable you'll actually be, how relevant the school is for your industry, or how realistic the outcomes are for international students. I also noticed something important. The more I focused on rankings, the more anxious I became. Every shortlist felt like a comparison, and every decision felt like a compromise. And that's when I realized that I wasn't asking the right questions. So instead of asking which schools are ranked the highest, I paused and asked, what do I need from this MBA? And that shift completely changed my approach. When I look back now, I realize that my entire shortlisting process came down to three things: fit, risk, and future. I didn't call it anything back then, but today I think of it as the FRF framework or the fit, risk, future framework. Every school on my list had to make sense on all of these three dimensions and not just one. So let me walk you through this using my own experience. The biggest mistake many people make is starting with the school names. I did the opposite. I started with my profile and asked, what kind of roles do I want after my MBA? Which industries does my background actually fit into? And where is there a real job market for someone like me? I come from an engineering and automotive background, and I had worked in technical and manufacturing heavy environments. So, my first non negotiable was that I would only target countries where my profile made sense and where there was an actual industrial ecosystem for it. This immediately removed a lot of schools. For example, even though Italy has some excellent business schools, I knew that the Italian market is much more focused on luxury, fashion, and design driven industries. That's not bad, but it was not aligned with my background. On the other hand, countries like Germany have a strong manufacturing and engineering ecosystem, which made them far more relevant for my long term career. And this taught me something important. A great school in the wrong ecosystem can still be a wrong choice for you. The thing is, prestige does feel good emotionally, but fit matters much more practically. Another part of fit that people often underestimate is language. I had already studied German before and also had some exposure to French. That's why countries like Germany and France felt more practical for my situation. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't consider a country just because you don't know the language yet. If you're motivated to learn a new language and you're comfortable to invest time and effort into it, then that can absolutely work. What matters is being honest with yourself about how quickly can you learn, how much mental bandwidth you realistically have during the MBA, and whether you're willing to use the local language for networking, internships, and jobs later. So you should not avoid countries with new languages, but just think of it like a challenge that you are already ready for instead of underestimating it. The second part of the framework is risk. What am I realistically risking with this choice? Now, this was the most uncomfortable part of the process, but also the most important. Here, I asked myself very direct questions like: will I need a large education loan? What is my visa situation like in this country? How strong is the local job market for internationals? And honestly, how much uncertainty can I handle? Now, lower risk didn't mean that I wanted to play safe. It just meant that I was choosing a system where I could feel that there is room to recover financially, emotionally, and professionally, even though things don't go exactly as planned. And that mindset eliminated many options very quickly, and it also gave me peace because once you're clear about the risk that you're taking, then you stop second guessing yourself every day. The third part of the framework is future. Does this decision still make sense 5 to 7 years from now? This question changed the way I looked at everything. Instead of asking, will I get a job immediately after graduation? I started asking, does this country and ecosystem support the kind of career and life I want to build long term? So I thought about the industries present in the country, long term career continuity, work culture and stability, quality of life, and whether I could see myself living there beyond the MBA. This is where shortlists become very clear very fast. For me, many schools dropped off here not because they were bad, but because they did not lead me to where I wanted to go. And once you apply this future lens, you will stop chasing options and start choosing directions. Initially, my list was very long. I was looking at schools across France, Germany, Italy, Spain, UK, almost every well known brand that came up in rankings or conversations. At that stage, I felt like I was being thorough, but in reality, I was just postponing my decisions. Once I started applying the Fit Risk Future framework, I did not need to force myself to eliminate schools. They just dropped off on their own. Some didn't pass the fit test, some were risky because of the cost and the job markets, and some just didn't make sense when I thought about my life 5 to 7 years down the line. And that's when I realized something important. Good shortlist doesn't feel exciting, it feels calm. By the time I finalized my applications, every school on my list made sense, not just on the paper but intuitively. I could explain why I was applying there to myself and to others, and that clarity made the application process much more focused and manageable. One mistake I see very often is that people outsource their thinking completely. They follow the rankings blindly, they apply where the consultants suggest without questioning the fit, or they chase top schools without understanding the job market realities. And I understand why. MBA decisions are expensive, they are emotional, and there's a lot of pressure to get everything right. But the problem is, no ranking, consultant, or online list understands your background, your risk tolerance, and your long term goals better than you do. Advice is useful, but your shortlist should never be built to impress others. It should make sense to you. Once your shortlist is clear, everything else becomes easier. Your essays stop sounding generic because you're no longer writing for any school, but you're writing for specific environments that you have deeply thought about. Your resume becomes more coherent because now your past experience connects beautifully and cleanly with your future goals. Looking back now, I'm really glad that I prioritized all these factors that I mentioned in the video. At that time, this approach felt slightly uncomfortable because I was saying no to some well known names. But today, I feel like it was the most grounded decision that I made in the entire MBA process. In the next video, I will talk about how to approach MBA essays and applications once your shortlist is ready. So make sure to hit the bell icon to turn on the notifications. If this video helped you, then let me know in the comments where you are currently stuck in your shortlisting process. And if you want more structured and honest guidance like this, then please subscribe to my channel. I will be sharing a lot more from my own journey and my learnings on this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.